everybody. Today we're at ASBO RC with the man himself, Dale Clements. Dale, thank you for doing this with me.
No worries at all, mate. No worries at all.
Brilliant. How are you?
I'm well.
Great.
I'm really well. You know, things are heading in the right direction. Obviously, you know, we've got people travelling 2.5 hours. So just before we start, this guy does a huge thing for the scene. So don't forget to like, share, comment, and smash the bell so you get notifications for the next one.
Thank you, brother. Wow. I got to say, coming here to your shop today, it's overwhelming. Seeing it online does not do this place justice. This is like, if you're into this is heaven. This is unreal, man.
Maybe you'll just have to try and get a couple of shots of a few things before you leave. So
definitely.
Perhaps put them into the video.
Yeah. But yeah, this...
Obviously, I'm in here every day, so for me, yeah, it's still cool. You know, like, obviously, if anyone ever comes here or whatnot and they walk in, and just to see people's faces is like, it's an amazing feeling. But obviously, I'm here all the time and I spend a lot of time in here.
Yeah.
But I absolutely love it. Absolutely love being in here as well.
Yeah, this is unreal, man. This is a dream. Wow.
I'm glad you like it.
Yeah.
Like I say, you know, one day maybe we'll have an actual shop that people can come into off the street.
How cool would that be?
That's the plan.
Yeah.
And that's the dream. How long it's going to take to get there, who knows? But I wake up every single day and my main focus is to make this better every day. I don't think anything can be achieved by jumping steps, if that makes sense. So you can't climb a mountain by hopping from the bottom to the top.
You got to put the work in.
You've got to just take that one step at a time and try and be as patient as possible, which sometimes is very difficult, you know, because there's been times where I perhaps wanted to give up. And
really?
There's been quite a few times where, you know, look, people don't really see what goes on in the background, and they don't really need to see, I suppose. But if this is like a little insight for people or whatnot, then great. But things are so expensive to buy.
Yeah.
And when you have a market that grows at a rate that, let's say for argument's sake, if 1 month you sell 10 of one item, the following month the demand might have gone up and you might need 15 of that item.
Yeah.
If that item is £100 and you're already making a margin on each one, you're probably not going to have enough to buy 11, let alone 15. So you're constantly robbing Peter to pay Paul all the time. And for, I'd say about 6 years, I didn't take a penny out of the business. Every single penny that I had, I kept putting back in to just grow the inventory and grow the stock. And I never thought it would get to this level, if I'm honest. I remember having a conversation with Simon Baker. He's an old veteran. Some of you may know him, some may not. But he's a top lad. We was having a chat one day and he said to me, I was at work at the time then, I was working 6 days a week and then doing this on a Saturday. And he said, do you think you'll have a big enough business to be able to do it full time? And quite flippantly, I just said, oh, nah. Because I never thought there would be, you know what I mean? I never thought that the scene would grow like it has and flourish like it has. And it seems to have gained some real momentum this year. And I don't think that is down to any single person. I think it's down to sort of a big collective effort. You know, obviously, I put a lot of work in through social media and whatnot to try and get it out to the masses. But also then you've got a lot of people within the community that are creating content like yourself. Obviously the clubs, they're starting to create their own content now. Yeah. And if anybody is out there that does create content and you're scared of posting it, because I see so many people taking videos and pictures, and I don't feel like the amount of people that I see taking pictures is what I see online. So maybe the people, if you've got something and you're worried about it, then drop either of us a message or any other content creator and we'll point you in the right direction if we can. You know, I'm quite lucky to be in a position where we've used a few influencers and that has kind of given me a golden ticket to what they know also, so their knowledge as well. So, you know, if I'm struggling with TikTok, I'll message RC Drift Talk and shout out to you, son.
Yeah, man. See you soon.
And, you know, and he'll say either he hasn't got a clue or I've been trying this and this is now working for me, and, you know, the platform's changed, it's going towards this direction. So there's always people out there that will help you. But my advice to anybody out there that is thinking about creating content or doing anything within that sort of genre in the hobby, just do it. Because if you see my first TikTok video, I was telling Sam before we started, it was literally me doing a donut around a wheel. It was shocking, but...
Have you still got that?
I have, yeah. It's still on my TikTok.
It's going up.
So if you go to the bottom of my TikTok, which might take you a little while, but if you go to the bottom, you'll see it, and that will be in this video, and you'll see it. And there's the proof, you know.
You just got to start.
Yeah, start. You know, like I always say to people, if you're writing a book, you can't write a paragraph at a time. It has to be a one letter, one word.
Yeah.
You know, just try. Let's all try together, collectively, to try and push this hobby as much as we possibly can.
Yeah, I completely agree with what Dale said. If anyone wants to catch me at a track and come and have a chat about ideas or stuff, I'd love that.
Same.
I would absolutely love that. I don't want people to think, oh, there's Dale.
Yeah.
Oh, God, don't want to go and talk to him. He's
not approachable, and that's something... That's one of the... kind of the main reasons that I've started to... do a little bit of kind of like the ASBO tours, if you want to call it that. Obviously, we went up to NRD on the Friday night not long ago, and then went across to the new track with Ethan and Gary, the Cool Kids.
Yes.
On the Saturday, that was their opening. Obviously, this weekend, we went down to Dorset and then over to Bath on the following day. And it's just one of them, like, get out there, go and meet people and just experience it. And for me, that's, yes, I suppose you can look at it as it's part of the business, I guess, but it's more than that for me. It's going out and meeting people that, you know, like there was a guy Saturday and he's told me his name. I said, I know who you are. I've seen your name a few times popping up on orders and stuff like that. So, you know, even for me, people may put me on a pedestal. I'm still just a normal guy. I still appreciate the fact that every single order counts, and, you know, it's nice to put a face to the name.
Agreed. I don't think I've been to a single track that hasn't been as welcoming as any of the others.
Yes, same.
So, in that respect, I don't think it matters where you go. Everyone's welcoming. Everyone wants to help each other. That's one of the brilliant things about this.
Walked into Dorset RC on Friday night. There was about 30 guys. It was busy. The place was busy and it was buzzing. And I tell you what, they had some serious kit as well. Like the chassis, there was overdose galms everywhere with all the bits on it. Them boys have got it unlocked.
Were they the ones that the DJ?
With a DJ, mate.
I saw that.
I was just like,
yes.
Literally, I walked in and I was like, I saw him on the stage and I thought he was just like, I don't know, playing music or something like that. And then I seen him, he just started mixing and scratching. I was just like,
how cool is that?
That's awesome.
Yes.
So
that is awesome.
But the welcoming, everywhere you go, it's the same. You know, like, I don't think it would matter if we went to the other side of the world.
No, I'd hope not.
Because it's like a shared interest.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the thing. It's almost like a golden ticket.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to go anywhere and be sociable, as long as you've got your car with you, you're in.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I love it. I love the community, not just in the UK, but worldwide as well. I keep an eye on most things, really, what's going on around the world. I obviously watch the Super G, so shout out to Super G as well, because
they're doing big things.
Them guys are doing bits. They're, again, I think Joey that runs the place, obviously I know he's got a partner as well, but Steve, I think his name is. I think he's got a bit of a similar sort of attitude to me, like, let's just keep picking things off the list and let's just keep trying to grow it and let's just try and remain patient and just keep pushing on. And I aspire to be like people like that. So big up to you guys.
Yes, well done, guys. Right, Dale. So you've been doing this a fair while. How did you find RC drifting?
So, probably like many people that are going to be watching this, the geeks, as you would call them.
Geeks.
I basically seen a video on YouTube. The first ever video, I'll send you the link for it. It's called Aloha.
Okay.
And it starts off and it's a little bit like a Hawaiian sort of beach. And it's like, oh, aloha. And I thought, what's this? And then obviously, and then it kicks into like a beat and the car comes flying past. And these were 50/50s at that point.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
talking 10 years ago. Like you'll see how old the video is when you get it on YouTube. But yeah, that was nearly 10 years ago. So I seen that and I thought, I want one of them. Where do I get one from? So obviously, as you do, you get to Google and I found a local model shop from just down the road from here, and I bought a Mavic Strada.
Okay.
Because there was only two options then. There was a Mavic Strada or a HPI Sprint 2. That was it. They were all 50/50s.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I think, just chucked plastic tyres on. Even some people cut up drain pipes and put them over rubber tyres. Yeah. And then literally we just went out and just started playing with them on car parks. I think about 14, 15 of my mates brought them. And then not long after that, this is where it gets a little bit deep. I had a breakdown. So I overworked myself and just ran myself into the ground, basically. And couldn't really go out of the house for about 4 or 5 months. Turns out it was post-traumatic stress disorder from an accident that I'd had when I was 17. And the only sort of way I could get out was to go drifting. There was no tracks at this point, so I used to go down to my local supermarket, and it had like a tiled floor outside, so it was a 50/50, so you power slided basically. Yeah. But I used to go down there, put my headphones on, and just for an hour it was like having a release from my brain. Just giving me that little bit of space each time I went, and that's one of the reasons why I feel like I'm slightly in debt to it, if that makes sense, because I feel, it's going to sound really cliche, but I feel like it saved me in a way. And then it's gone on to do so much more than that. You know, it's built me a life.
Yeah.
It's built me some great friends
Yes.
from all over the world, you know. So, yeah, basically I got started with a Strada. I messed about with that for a little while, and then one day I seen 2 HPI Sprints come up for sale, and one of them had a few bits on it. So it had like a one-way diff in the front, different suspension, better servo, and I think they were about 130 quid. And the other one was more or less like, it was box fresh, so the ceiling was still on the shell and stuff like that. So I thought, well, if I buy them both, I could probably sell that one for close to 130 quid, and then I've got a HPI Sprint 2 and all the bits I want. So obviously I've done the deal, and that's kind of where it started, really.
Set the seed.
That was it. It kind of planted the seed, and obviously at a time where my brain was full of all sorts of nastiness, you know, I was sat there thinking, I'll never ever own a business again. I'll never have the mental capacity to be able to juggle so many plates. And I started buying body shells for some random reason, and like cars that I could fix and then sell to my mates to try and get them to get involved. Just basically the same ethos as what I've got now, really. So that hasn't ever really changed. It's just like, let's try and get as many people involved as possible, because I guess in sort of how would you say it? What's the word? In a non-conscious way, because I feel like I owe it something, I also think then that maybe this could save other people.
Yeah, I 100%.
Yeah.
On a Tuesday night when we're all up Slide House, I'm not going to name names, but the amount of people that you can see it when they come in the door, they sit down, they're a different person. They get to switch off from life for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
And no one there wants to talk about, oh, what's going on with this? How's your life? But we're just there to have a good time. We're all mates.
Yeah.
And you can chill.
Yeah. And that's what the beauty of it is for me.
Yeah, 100%.
It's almost like you say, like a break from reality. I think we live, obviously going a bit off subject from RC, but we live in a busy world. You know, we're constantly on demand. If you're awake, you're available. So, yeah, we do live in a demanding society, so it is quite difficult. And, you know, I know we don't talk about things trackside, but I do message quite a few people in the background. And I've got a really good sense for
When someone's off.
Yeah, if somebody's not quite right, I know, and I'll message that person and not necessarily say like, come under my wing, but you know, if you need me, I'm here.
Yeah.
And sometimes, especially men, we tend to brush it off quite easily, and I did for a hell of a long time. And looking back, when I was sort of breaking down, I didn't actually know I was breaking down. I just thought I was stressed or whatever, because I'd never seen it before. I'd not seen anybody else sort of get into that situation, and obviously I didn't know my own feelings. I didn't know why I felt like that. It just all spiraled, seemed to be sort of out of control. But moving on slightly from there, I'd say we were probably about 2 years in at this point, and I got a message on Instagram, I believe, from a company called Yusakani. So here's a little bit of history for you. ASBO RC originally was called Yusakani UK. That was the original name of ASBO RC. Because obviously at that point I didn't think that I was going to then go on to get another product and even be anywhere near where we are now. So it was kind of just take that one step at a time. Let's call it Yusakani UK. And obviously they messaged me and said, would you like to sell our parts? You know, we've seen a lot of you on Facebook and stuff like that, because even back then I was quite active. So yeah, that was kind of the start of the start, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I can remember going to NRD with the biscuit tin, which is now the raffle tin, with £100 worth of parts, which my late granddad, God rest his soul, left me. So he left me 100 quid in an envelope and said, give this to Dale, because I was taking my nan to and from the hospital and I wouldn't take any petrol money off him. So it wasn't like an inheritance, it was just a thank you. So I thought, well, I could go and spend this money on a pair of trainers, and in 6-8 months' time, that pair of trainers will be in the bin and the memory's gone. It's not, this is it.
This is that £100.
This is that £100. This is the legacy. I've never
Wow.
put any extra money in, and everything that's gone in has come back in and reimbursed itself. And like my nan, she passed away not long ago, and when I told her that how much we had in stock and in the bank, she literally just sat and cried because she was so proud. Which, looking at it from an outsider's point of view, I guess you would be. So
You should be proud, dude.
yeah, I do feel.
I don't know. I'm sorry if I keep looking away but this you need to be
spotting
sitting.
things.
You need to be sitting where I'm sitting. This is unreal.
We'll do an FPV from Sam. But yeah, basically it started there. I went to NRD, Dan and all the guys up there were super, super welcoming. They literally raided the tin. And I got back and I said to the missus, I said, babe, I think I could have sold 1,500 quid's worth if I wanted to. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was really like, I come back and I'd really got that buzz back for doing something for myself again.
Yeah.
And it's making me feel quite tingly now to think about it, because I never thought it was possible. I never thought there was going to be any light at the end of the tunnel. And that was kind of my first glimmer of hope. Like, there's a way out of this and we can get there. And this is out to everybody else who ever suffers with any sort of mental health or anything like that. Better days do come. And don't get me wrong, life is swings and roundabouts. It's not all highs, it's not all lows. But if we didn't get the lows, how would we know what the highs would feel like?
Yeah.
So you've kind of got to experience it all, which sometimes is uncomfortable. And, you know, I suffer still to this day, and I'll probably will suffer for a long, long time to come. But I know how to manage things now, and I know when enough's enough, and I know when to hold back and whatnot. But yeah, coming back, feeling absolutely just bowled over. And obviously then started my journey into buying and selling RC parts, really. And I quickly noticed that there was lots of people that wanted stuff, but they couldn't get it. Yep. Because import times and all that sort of stuff, back then it was crazy. Like, it's a lot better now. Things are, you know, you can import something, it could be here less than a week, sometimes overnight. You know, I've had shipments from Japan that have come overnight. Shout out to Fast and Furious. Overnight parts from Japan. But yeah, it was difficult to get stuff. So again, my mentality being the way it is, let's help. Because obviously at this point, and even to the point now, it's still not about the money. It's not like money is the driver of it. The driver is, let's get more stuff and let's make more people happy. Because, you know, like when you go to a track and someone gives you a compliment about your work, you know, your work could be anything. You could be a painter, you could be somebody that designs wheels, anything. When you get that recognition, it's a nice feeling. And obviously you have to put a hell of a lot more work in than the recognition that you get. Yeah. But nonetheless, it's still just as humbling. Yeah. So.
And you're not doing it for that.
No, it is literally like, I just look at life. Without going too deep, I'm a great believer in the laws of the universe, the laws of attraction, and also karma. So if anybody who's studied anything to do with the laws of attraction, or you read The Secret or anything like that, you will know about it and about the laws of attraction in a way that it basically tells you to be kind, have a good, clean heart, and the universe will do the rest. And just by having that faith, it's literally changed my life. Literally, because all I've done is concentrated on helping people, and in return I get this great life.
Yeah.
I get to do the job that I love.
Yeah.
I get to go out meeting people, which I love. I get to do the raffles, which is so satisfying sometimes. Like, don't get me wrong, it's satisfying every time, but every now and again you'll get somebody that has perhaps been struggling. Like, for example, there was a guy not long ago, I don't think he'll mind me mentioning his name, Calvin Wilmot from Bracknell. Okay. He was driving a D5 and he won a Shark conversion.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with the PS13 tacker shell that Sweeps did.
Yes.
So you probably remember that raffle picture inserted here.
Yes.
So he's then gone from like right down here and took a massive leap. So obviously he was super grateful. He was messaging me going, I can't believe it, dude, this, that and the other. And then somebody sent me a screenshot of the Bracknell group chat and all the lads in there congratulating him and saying, like, you were doing so well with the D5, this is what you needed. Yeah. So just things like that. And when I first started the raffles, I wanted to do stuff that was either rare, which obviously, you know, that carries its own weight. People go, oh, I want that because it's rare.
Definitely.
But a lot of it was to give people the opportunity to own something that they might not be able to.
Yeah, or they wouldn't necessarily buy themselves.
Yeah. So like things like addiction shells, I mean, they've gone down a little bit in price now, but back then they were over 200 quid for the boxed ones. Yeah, wow. So just raffling one of them off, people were like, well, I'm never going to, not necessarily never going to afford one, but I could never justify spending 200 quid on the shell, because at that point, I think Pandoras were about 45, 50 pound. Mm-hmm. So Pandora was kind of the top end of the market. A lot of people were using like Matrix line and HPI, which were 20, 22 quid, something like that. So it was a big jump. It was a 10x. Yeah. You know, to go from a HPI shell at 20 quid up to an addiction shell is 200 quid. And then when you open it and realise it's just a massive box of effort, most people go, So, but yeah, that's sort of one of the main reasons why we started doing that, was, again, just to help. So, again, like, thank you to the universe. You know, it's blessed me in ways that I never thought could be imaginable. And like I say, I get to come in here every single day. Like, you think it's nice just being in here. It's like, this is like the ultimate man cave for me. Yes. And yeah, it's just crazy. I can't believe how much it's grown. I also can't believe how much legs it's grown as well. The hobby as a total. I mean, next year, for argument's sake.
Oh, it's going to be insane.
Which is just, you know, we've got the UK Championships coming up. There's going to be God knows how many events going on all around the country. I had the guy from Petrolheadism message me the other day. That was quite a big show last year for influencers. So I've seen a lot of influencers there, like Shmee and Matt Armstrong and the big guys that do obviously the YouTube, the full-size cars. So yeah, that was quite interesting the other day when he messaged me. I'm waiting on a reply to see what he wants us to do or whatnot. Obviously, I don't own a track, so we'll see who's the closest and whether they want to do it or not.
I'm sure we can make that happen.
Yeah, of course. You know, this community is. If there's anybody that does want to do it, feel free to drop me a DM. It's not a problem if you're local to London. I think it is Hyde Park, something like that. It's not far from central London. But there's going to be a lot going on, as there was this year. You know, we've had the guys from Belgium come over.
Yes.
We've had Viv, obviously, from SRC. You know, you've got people travelling from all over the world to come to the UK to play with a toy car.
Yeah.
It is mental. When you put it onto a basic level, if you was explaining it to somebody that wasn't in the hobby, not like you geeks at home, then they'd just be like, oh, that's crazy. Like, that's some level of commitment, but it's just how it is.
Yeah.
People that actually love it, it's not just us. It seems to be like a worldwide thing that lots of people and the whole scene just seems to be hitting the gas. And it's great because for me, it's all part of the big vision of telling everyone, saving everyone.
Yes, man.
So, yes.
Right, Dal. Got any plans for the future you want to talk about?
Well,
or the big vision?
I've got dreams and aspirations, like most, I'd imagine. But I will send you the picture, insert here. One day, my dream is to own the biggest RC drift shop in the world. And I want people to travel from all over the world to come and see it. You know, that's my dream. How we get there, I guess that's down to the universe.
Yes.
I'll kind of leave it in the hands of that and just, like I say, you know, keep taking that step, keep writing that letter. But yeah, eventually one day, the dream is to have a big warehouse with a massive shop on the side and hopefully a Lambo parked outside with an ASBO plate on
Fuck
it.
yeah, man.
That's the dream, that's the dream. And every day I work towards it. I wake up every morning and, you know, I think today is going to be one more step forward. And sometimes it's just a case of ironing out the creases. You know, like, I don't know whether you put this in or not, but just recently we've got DPDs collecting now from here rather than me having to go to the shop and take them out. And that's not because I can't be bothered. It's because it takes out one more person out the chain. Mm-hmm. So theoretically, it should make it quicker. So up until recently, we've been having no problem with DPD whatsoever. Just recently, they've started slowing right down because of Christmas. So they must be prioritising the business customers. So then me being who I am, right, we need to fix that. How do we become a business customer? So it's just ironing those little creases out every day. And if anybody is watching this that wants to start a business, not RC drifting, because that's my business.
Yeah, get your own business.
Get your own. But if somebody's got a dream or an aspiration, then don't be scared. Just try and take them steps to, and eventually you'll start to see some glimmers of light and you'll start to think that, you know, I may never get to that stage, but that's the dream and that's where I'd love to get to. And as long as I keep striving for that every day, I'm aiming for the sky, so I've got to get somewhere.
Yeah.
It's got to move in the right direction.
Businesses don't just pop out of the ground, they're built.
No. Lots of, you know, like I'm into my aspirational quotes and all that sort of stuff. And I seen a video not long ago and it says, most people take 10 years to become an overnight success. And that's what it is, you know, you've got to grind it, you've got to work. I always say work smart, not hard if you can. But don't be scared to work hard.
Yeah.
You know, I've been in here till 3, 4 a.m. on many of occasions. And yeah, it's hard. But you feel so good for pushing yourself through that mental barrier of, how would you say it? It's almost like having a body armour on. And every time you do a task or a challenge like that, that body armour becomes thicker. You become stronger through it, if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
So, but yeah, the dream is to one day have a big
I look forward to it.
With a nice Lamborghini outside.
Hey, maybe we can look back at this in...
Who knows? This is what I mean. Like,
let's say 10 years.
For somebody that sat there...
We'll watch this video.
10 years' time.
Yeah.
You just never know.
No.
Like I say, 3 years ago, probably 4 years ago, somebody asked me if I was going to do this as a full-time job, and I never thought I could. Now look. So don't hold yourself back. That's the key to life, I think. Don't hold yourself back. Just do whatever you think's right. Don't stab anybody in the back. Don't. This is where the karma comes into it for me. I would never ever strategically try and take out somebody else, because I don't believe in things like that. Because I think if you do something like that, karma will have a way of doing the reverse onto you. So just be as good as you can be, and we all make mistakes, we all make errors. You know, I think if we was to look round in here, there's probably quite a few failures. You know what I mean? But you've got to try things to know that you can or you can't do it. So just give it a go, and whatever it is that your dreams are, just try your best. That's all you can do.
Wow. What goes into putting on a raffle, Dale? I can't imagine you just pick a car off the shelf, chuck some raffle tickets up and go...
To be honest with you, it's quite demanding sometimes. So just to give you a little bit of an idea, when it's a busy-ish raffle, so let's say it's 600 tickets, we will sell that roughly in an hour. Yeah? So it works out to 3.6 seconds, right? So I have 3.6 seconds to look at your screenshot to make sure you've sent the payment to the right place, take a picture of your numbers, write your name on the back, put that in the tin, move on to the next one. You got 3.6 seconds to do that. So when Viv was over here, he literally sat and watched for 45 minutes. And then after I finished and said it's sold out and everything, he looked at me and he just went, "You have to beat this." Fucking hell, Dale. I was like, what? He was like, I've never seen somebody with that level of focus. And obviously, a lot of it's practice, you know. But yeah, it's very intense.
Yeah.
My missus has said to before about doing a live feed, but it's so intense that I think just that little extra bit of pressure may be too much.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't want to be losing my shit on a live feed.
Sometimes... when it comes around to Sunday and I'm like, right, it's 4 o'clock, here we go. I'll send my money over. I send him the screenshot and I almost feel a little bit cold because I've literally just sent him a picture of the screenshot and the ghost, right? But then I think like, no, Dale needs all of the concentration, all of the time.
Yeah,
I'm not going to message. I'm just going to leave this, forget about it. Because I can imagine.
And that's the best way, because I think I do try and explain it every now and again, but I probably do need to like sort of re-jog people's memories and stuff like that. So to keep it as fair as possible, we always go from the bottom. So the bottom would be the first person that messages you. So if you then start to message me with like thumbs up and stuff like that, effectively what you're doing is putting yourself further and further back up the queue.
Yep, bumping yourself.
And I have had people do that before in the past, and they weren't too happy about it because they thought that obviously when the tickets are sold out, they're like, "Why have you done that?"
Yeah,
I messaged you at 5:15, and I'm like, "Yeah, but you then consider like so many times you kept putting yourself to the back of the queue, and it's just the fairest way to do it."
Yeah.
And then when it comes to the tickets, before they even go in the tin, they all get mixed up. So they're even random before they even go in the tin. And obviously then they get folded up and put into the tin of dreams.
Yeah. Can we see the tin?
Yeah, 1 second.
We're going to see the famous tin. Oh.
It is. Shortcake tin. So it's just random paperwork in there.
It is
comes out
just a normal tin, I can confirm.
Yeah. Whilst we're on the subject of the tin, basically, obviously we started off the raffle using the tin, and then lots of people were asking me if they could pick their own numbers and X, Y, Z. So me being a people pleaser, I set up a website called ASBO Competitions. People could pick their own numbers and do all the rest of it. But for whatever reason, it lost its spark. It just didn't do anything really. It was strange. It was like, we sold some tickets, don't get me wrong, but people just didn't have the same response to it. And then I think we were about 4 months in, and I thought, nah, I need to pull the plug on this, because the ship is sinking and it's sinking rapidly, so I need to pull the plug. And the first week, I said to people, the tin is coming back.
Yes.
And it went absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
So the only key to the success that I can say, there is some sort of mad powers within the tin. Who knows? But it's what works.
Yeah.
And as much as I would love to have a Sunday where I can just jump on a live feed and do the nice bit, not the stressful bit where you have to do 3.6 seconds a ticket. But it would be great to be able to go out on a Sunday and stuff like that. But unfortunately, it doesn't work. So we just have to stick with what works, I guess.
Yeah.
And everybody seems to love the tin. It's almost... The tin will probably be on a T-shirt next.
That's a good idea.
The tin tees.
Coming from a consumer's point of view, it's so easy to enter. That's what I love about it.
Yes.
Once you've done it a couple of times, it's very easy to enter.
Yeah. And I think people, like especially new players, they're kind of shocked how easy it is. Because obviously they're sending money potentially from £2 up to whatever. And, excuse me, obviously they're sending it effectively to a stranger, and obviously if it is a busy one that week, which does tend to generate more new people because it tends to go further because more people want to get involved, so more people comment, more people share it. But yeah, obviously they're then sitting there thinking, I've just sent this guy 20 quid, who is he? Do you know what I mean? But as soon as they get their ticket numbers, I'm pretty sure their mind will be at ease then.
Yeah.
And most people tend to come through on recommendation.
Yeah.
Again, going back to Super G, the guys in Ohio, shout out to you guys. They was at Super G for that event, and they were telling people at Super G, you need to get involved in the raffles.
No way.
They're awesome, and this, that, and the other. And that's the other side of the world.
Yeah.
We had a guy win not so long ago from Australia. So there's literally people playing from all over the world, mate. Like,
that's so cool.
We had a spout at one point where the guys in Ohio, I think there must have been about 30 of them playing. And there was a time where all I was doing was sending parcels to Ohio.
Wow.
So, yeah, and it's crazy again to think that, how did we get here? Just from taking that one step at a time, you know what I mean? And it's crazy. And again, I'm always looking to better myself. I'm always looking to make it bigger and better. So, and that'll probably a good time to lead on to the Christmas raffle.
I was just going to ask, can we, are we allowed to know any sneak peeks?
I haven't made the decision properly yet.
Okay.
So I'm still in two minds of what to put in first place. But what I can tell you is there will be $5,000 worth of kit given away. I'm not 100% sure yet whether we're going to do 10 prizes or 20. Obviously, if we do 20, then the back end 10 normally tend to be smaller things like wheels and stuff like that. So I might just concentrate on doing 10 really good items, if that makes sense. And normally the first prize swallows around about the 2k mark.
Wow.
So like last year we had a overdose vacula / gown, like a hybrid, and it had every single part in purple you could think of, and just whoever built it chucked a serious wedge at it, sort of thing. So yeah, that's the sort of thing that we will be doing.
Wicked.
Obviously there'll be stuff like Acuvants and Sanwa and whatnot in there as well, but I have got a kind of a short list, but I'm still crossing my fingers for a gown. If anyone's got a gown with loads of bits on it and you don't want ridiculous money for it, drop me a DM and we never know. That could be our first prize.
I'm going to try and get this out before Christmas. Well, I will. I'll get it out before Christmas. Do we know what Sunday? Is it going to be on a Sunday as usual?
Yes. So it will be... Don't quote me on it, but I think it's the 18th of December.
Hang on. We'll have a look.
So it'll be the 17th, just so it gives me a few days' grace to be able to get the stuff out to the winners and stuff like that.
Awesome.
Because obviously there's a few international winners, so
they
might not get it in time, but that's the idea. I tend to try and do it a week before, like, 'cause obviously if I did it on when's Christmas on the Sunday?
Yeah.
So obviously I can't.
Christmas Eve's on the Sunday.
So Christmas Eve, yeah.
So you're never going to get it out for
I
Christmas.
wouldn't do it, yeah, because it's not going to get out,
Yeah.
and people, yeah, they want a Christmas raffle, but at the same time, they obviously the people that are going to win, they're going to want their prizes as well. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I look forward to it. I get stressed about it. I also get nervous. So last year was the first time that I did a 5K one. So obviously a lot of people will be attracted by the buzzword 5K.
I'm already excited.
But what they don't realise is I'm tucked in for a serious amount of money before I even press the trigger. Yeah. So there is a lot of nerves before you press the button.
Yeah.
And if something happens, like, I've had it happen to me recently where my post must not have gone active straight away. So for the first 3 or 4 minutes, nothing. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like a flatline sort of noise in your head. You think, uh-oh.
Are you usually bang on 8? Are you there waiting?
At 4 o'clock.
At 4, yeah.
And then at 8 o'clock,
yeah.
literally 2 minutes to 8, I'll sit there, put the live feed on, make sure everything's ready, and I sit and wait then.
Really?
To go, yeah.
Because I found recently, and this is a Facebook thing, this is not a you thing, that 8:01, and I'll have to physically refresh to find, or sometimes actually look for you, because I know it's on.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing we can really do about Facebook, to be fair. But the one thing that I will say to people is, if you scroll past, like some people have said to me, I don't see your raffles anymore. And that's because if you've seen a post from me, which might not be to do with the raffles, or it might be, and you scroll past it 3 times, the algorithm will then stop showing you.
Is that right?
Stuff. Yeah.
That'll be it.
So if you do see something, count how many times in your head before you press a like button. And that's not a way of me generating likes, because I'm really not bothered. But if you want to keep up to date with the raffle, but a lot of people set alarms.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I'm ready for it.
A lot of people, they do set alarms. Yeah. Like some people say to me, I set it for 1:15 so I don't get the tickets at the start. And like, it's crazy when I go out and start speaking to people about it, because it's amazing how much strategy people put behind it.
That's so funny.
It's crazy, bro.
That's so funny.
It's literally crazy. I'm like, my response usually is that I just believe it's the luck of the draw.
Yeah.
And if it's meant to be your day, then it's meant to be your day. But
dude,
I suppose if you want to treat it like a game and try and play it from the best possible angles, then why not?
I do that.
If it makes it more fun, that's what it's there for.
I try and wait 15 minutes, but I never make it.
Yeah. Get FOMO.
Yeah. Every time.
God. But yeah, if someone was to ask me, what's the secret? I don't know. I honestly don't know. And if I had to replicate the raffles again, I don't know what I would do. And I don't mean that from a point of view where I'm clueless, because I'm not, far from it. But
the success.
I don't know how it's succeeded or why it's succeeded. All I've tried to do is make the best that I can out of it. So if I'm trying to make it a bigger and better raffle all the time, then surely it's got to get bigger and better.
I honestly think if you were to do it where you get the random number generators or whatever, if you did it online and it wasn't personal anymore, then that would kill it for me. And I think that's 50% of it is you and getting to you talking to people, having a bit of banter before it all starts, hearing what people have been up to.
Yeah.
That's great.
I've had not tons of people, but a small handful, probably 3 or 4 people say to me that watching it is like their weekly news update.
Yes.
They're like, it's like ASBO News. And I'm like, I don't know. It's so humbling, because if you're the sort of person that just takes other people for granted, then it might be a different experience for you. But I'm not. And I really appreciate everything that people do. And even just people sat there watching me or watching this podcast or whatever, like, every view counts, because I see that as a person who took their time out of their day to come and watch this. And like I say, it's super humbling, and I get humbled every single day, whether it be someone dropping me a message to say that they'd got their parts, or, after this goes out, I'll probably get a few messages from people saying thank you or well done or whatever. And even on the darkest of days where you feel like giving up, the universe send me somebody that sends, you know, you can have 10 complaints and then you get one person that comes in, or one person that tags you in a Facebook post or something like that. And that's why I always try and be as grateful as possible, because if somebody's gone out of their way to be grateful and show their gratitude, surely that's what you should do in return.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah.
That's my belief anyway.
How long before the raffle do you start preparing for it? How long do you start looking out for that rare part? Or is it all the way throughout the year, and if something special comes along, then you go, tuck that aside?
Literally, from January, I will be thinking about next year's Christmas
Seriously?
raffle. Yeah, 100%. Because the Christmas raffles are not the weekly raffles. Mm-hmm. It has to be something special. So it needs to be something rare, expensive. And as most of you guys are aware, rare and expensive kit in this hobby is hard to find.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you was to look at the likes of Overdose, for instance, some of their products that they do are absolutely amazing. And the reason why they're so hard to get hold of is because they do a limited run for that reason, which is very clever in the way that they do it. And it also obviously adds a lot of value to their brand, but it makes it a bit of a pig to try and get stuff.
I bet.
So, yeah, literally from January, I'll be thinking about trying to find that one article that will really kick it off. I did do a Bianca V2 not long ago, and I probably should have saved that for Christmas, because that went absolutely bonkers. Had a set of HRC shocks on.
Ooh, the nerds.
Yes.
Yeah.
7PX. Obviously, it was a V2 Bianca, it's a rare chassis, and they've not long been released. So yeah, it just ticked all the boxes, I guess, and everyone just went, "I'm in, let's go." You know, so perhaps I should have saved that, but hey ho, here we are. I've got backup plans, and obviously, I hope something else comes through. If not, I have got a plan, and I've always got a plan B, because you know, people will say piss poor preparation equals piss poor performance. I think about nothing else, dude. Honestly, I think about nothing else but this brand and the raffles. I literally wake up in the morning, and from the minute I wake up to the minute I go to bed, I live, eat and breathe this, because I love it. And that's the only reason.
I would say you're lucky, but I know how much hard work you've put into it. Well, I think I know how much hard work you put into it, but I can admire that.
Yeah. And that's only through choice, you know. And again, you see a lot of these people that do sort of like motivational speaking, like people like Gary Vee and people like that say, do a job that you love and you'll never work a day in your life. And it's true, you know, and there's so many people out there that would put somebody off and go, "Oh, you don't want to do that because there's no market in it," or whatever. But when people used to say that to me, in my mind, I used to think, I'll create a market. And that's almost one of the reasons why I did a lot of social media to start with, was because I guess I was trying to create something.
Yeah.
You know, like to build it into... Obviously, I had no idea it would even get to this level, but yeah, just trying to create something and just trying to build something that meant something to me. And it does. It means a lot. So... And all these guys, they mean a lot as well. More than you'll ever know, you know, there's people in the scene that are popular for whatever reason, whether it be they've got a big social media following or they own a track or whatever, but I don't think enough people talk about the drivers. So it's the drivers that keep this world running. They're the ones... They are the biggest cog in the wheel, basically. And that's why every week, I don't think there's ever been a time where I've failed to thank people for liking, sharing, commenting, and obviously when they buy tickets and stuff like that, because just by somebody sharing it means maybe someone else will see it, and maybe someone else will see it, and that then allows it to continue to grow. Because from a perspective of my point of view, I'm not interested in taking thousands and thousands of pounds out of it. All I'm interested in is, what's the next thing that people want? That's all I'm interested in. How do we make it bigger? How do we make it better?
Yeah, man.
And just keep moving in that direction.
I tell you what baffles me is when I go to a track, it don't matter what track it is, and I'll be talking to someone, and then I start thinking like, you're from East Coast, you've come from far north, and I start to build a plan in my head, and I'm like, I'd love to see a map of all of the drivers
like a track
ascending onto one track.
That'd be awesome.
The amount of people that put, and it's effort, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's
to drive to these tracks.
Like,
so it's not like it's just easy for the drivers, and
it's not easy for any
people.
Really,
everyone's putting in work.
People have got commitments themselves. People have got children and relationships and all the general ins and outs of a normal working day. And then on top of that, they travel hours and hours. I've seen people travel from South Africa. How far do you want to go?
We need a bigger map.
Obviously, in the UK, the lads travel regular from Scotland.
Yeah,
down to Ronin and MDS, and it's just crazy. Again, I think everyone just needs to feel appreciated, because without every single person within the wheel, nothing would work in such a smooth way like it does. I mean, this year for me, I feel like it's become a quite well-oiled machine. Like, there's lots of things moving in the right direction. There's lots of people writing books.
Yeah.
There's lots of people telling their own story. And that's one of the really good things about this podcast. People are getting to see a little bit of behind the scenes also of what goes on at those tracks. Obviously, you've had Bullhead on, the guys from Bracknell, and Scott as well from Ronin, and obviously Sweeps, the old guy from down the road. But it gives them the chance to tell their story as well. And again, big up to them guys who run the tracks, because it ain't easy, dude.
Yeah.
It's not easy, man.
And if any of you think that I'm doing this for me, this is not. This is me. I'm doing this as a thank you, because I know how hard these guys are putting in for the track owners. I want to do all of the tracks and then work my way through. But this is, I want the guys to be able to say, like, their recognition. Yeah,
of course. And I think as humans, that's what we seek. We seek recognition, because, if you do a good job on something, it's like I was saying earlier about your work. If somebody comes along and says that's shit, automatically that's ruined your day. You know what I mean? But if someone comes along and goes, oh, that's really good, it's a good idea what you're doing there, dude, well done, blah, blah, blah. And that in itself is worth more than any money. And that's what I chase. I do chase that. And I think as humans, we're geared towards it. We're geared towards acceptance, I guess, in a way. But yeah, there's so many people taking part.
Yeah.
And I think that's the great thing about it. And big up to every single one of you.
Yeah, man. Thanks,
wherever
guys.
you're watching this from, in the country, in the world, big up yourself, because we're achieving great things between us all. And if you could say it was a team, it's a team effort. It's
a community.
Yeah. The community is so strong.
Yeah.
Like, it's a little bit of a deep one, but, obviously I've done 2 raffles. Obviously, when we first went into COVID, I took it upon myself to contact as many people as I possibly could. I got the black book out and just went to work and thought, well, I'm going to raise as much money as I possibly can. And again, this is where I don't see it as in I'm doing all the work. Yeah, I've done a lot of work in the background, and it took a lot of organising to get it as big as it was, but it was the people that bought the tickets, it was the community that did it. And like I say, we saved the tracks, so to speak. It might not have saved them all, and it might not have paid for them for perhaps as long as they needed, but it certainly did help people. Moving on from that, obviously, Viv, his best friend's dad, his bowel exploded, and he was in intensive care in ICU in South Africa. And over there, the NHS, their version of it is just dreadful. So you have to pay for everything privately. And we raised just short of $4,000. Now, it was $1,000 a day to keep him in ICU. On day 4, he woke up.
Man.
That guy now is healthy.
Wow.
Wow. So shout out to Darren's dad.
Yeah, man.
But also shout out to everybody that helped save him. I don't think I've told a few people, but I don't think I've ever said it publicly about that. But again, you know, that sense of achievement, it's worth more than any check you could ever write, because what you feel is you, that's your emotions. And, you know, if you could pay to be happy, most people would give everything they own to be happy. And I don't have to do that. I don't have to pay to be happy because people make me happy. So I'm super lucky, mate. I really am.
I started getting into this during lockdown.
Yeah.
And so I missed the raffles you did to raise funds for the tracks. But I tell you this, Sweep still talks about it now.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
And that's the crazy thing, isn't it? You know, like, again, I didn't do that for anything to do with me. Again, this is where I think the universe will, if you give out, it's not always about going up to somebody like a homeless person in the street and feeding them or something like that. It's just general day-to-day kindness. If you see somebody struggling, speak to them. If you think the tracks are going to close, try and do something about it, you know. And sometimes I do stuff and I think, why have you started this? Do you know what I mean? Because I'm just the sort of person that just crashes in and let's get on with it. Let's just try and get this to the finish line. And, you know, luckily we've got a lot of people in this scene that also do that.
Yes.
People like Sweeps, you know, like he's doing a lot of organising around the events for obviously next year and stuff like that, which is no easy task.
The work gone on behind the scenes has been
crazy.
Unreal.
It is crazy, so that we can go and enjoy it. Now, you know, in what world do we live in where people don't do that to others? Like,
yeah, this would be nothing. This would fail.
It's just like something else that I've never experienced.
Yeah.
I've never experienced. To be honest, I never even had a hobby in the past. I was into my cars when I was younger, but that was more of a lifestyle than a hobby. You know, going and sitting with your mates at McDonald's or whatnot. But yeah, it was more of a lifestyle than a hobby. And I don't know, it's crazy for me. I don't know if other people have been in other hobbies and experienced this before. Maybe they have, maybe they haven't, I'm not sure. But for me, I've never experienced it. So not only is it something new, it's also great. Like,
yeah, this is great.
It's crazy. It is crazy.
I ask all the shop owners this.
Okay.
How often do you get asked for a discount or a sponsor?
Ooh. So, quite regularly, if I'm honest. Obviously, you get the messages on Instagram and things like that. You know, I can promote your product with my 5 followers or whatnot. I always look at it from a point of view is, if it's something that I can do myself and do it better, then I will. But if not, like, you know, there's influencers out there like RC Drift Talk that we've supported in the past, and Kevin Tolbert and people like that. But I've never really been into the whole sponsorship thing because I feel like it's unfair on other drivers, if I'm honest. Because if one person gets a sponsorship or a discount, everybody should get it.
Yeah.
And no one's getting it. Before you even think. So obviously we did like Black Friday and stuff like that. Yep. And on Black Friday we don't make any money basically. It's just a way of giving back every year. Giving people the opportunity to buy something for less than the retail price, XYZ. Everybody knows how Black Friday works. But yeah, the whole sponsorship thing for me always felt a little bit unfair because it always felt like I say, there's too many drivers for me to pick. So, and each one of them will probably carry different weight. You know, obviously like somebody like yourself, I've helped you with bits and bobs with your YouTube channel and stuff like that. So
yep.
I would say I'm always willing to support things, but I also have to pick my battles. If I was to just give everybody everything at a discounted rate, the shop would never grow. And that's not what people want, I believe. You know, people want to be able to get their parts in relatively quick time and get what they want. And for that to happen, unfortunately, we can't just give everybody a discount. As much as I'd love to, I'd give everything away for free if I could. But unfortunately, you know, you have to put your sensible head on every now and again. And like I say, a lot of it mainly is because of the unfairness.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people over the years, obviously I've been in the game for quite a long time, I've seen a lot of people over the years get agitated, shall we say, by other drivers getting a sponsorship because they rightly so feel like, why not them, you know? And I mean, I don't go into it that deep myself. Like, I think if Yokomo or Overdose or somebody like that wanted to sponsor me, then I wouldn't say no. But it's not something that would ever be on my priority list because, again, I don't really agree with it. I think it causes more bad feeling than it does good, and I'm all about positive aspects of things.
Yeah, man.
If it doesn't really bring a positive element,
I can
to
see
it,
how it would.
Yeah,
It has its negative.
Let's say, for argument's sake, right, I've not seen this happen before, but let's just say, for argument's sake, you've got a guy that goes to the track and he gets a sponsorship, and then all of a sudden, everybody in that track falls out with him. It's ruined it. It's ruined the hobby for that person. And again, like I say, I don't see the positive coming from that. So, and we can all afford to pay 10% extra or whatever it is. It's not really here or there, is it? Let's be honest. So that's what I think about sponsorships.
No is the answer.
In short.
Oh, for the comps next year.
Yeah.
I've already booked the time in with the missus.
Have you?
I'm there,
Got your
man.
tokens?
Yes. I got them in early.
Yeah. See, that's another great thing about owning the business. It gives me the golden ticket. I can go where I want.
I'm doing it for the business, babe.
Yeah. Don't watch this bit or edit it out. It's all right, I won't show her. But yeah, like, you know, I don't really struggle to get drift tokens, shall we say.
Mint.
But yeah, I will be. I'll be at a round or two. Obviously, there'll be one at MDS, there'll be one at Ronin, so they're quite local to me.
Yeah.
And I would like to try and get to another round as well. Like, I wouldn't mind doing perhaps NRD or something like that.
Yeah.
Sweeps is probably at home now, gritting his teeth, thinking, why aren't you coming to Slide House? Because I think you'll be bombarded, if I'm honest, with the response that you've had from the Auto Sports show. I don't think you're going to struggle to fill any venue in the UK.
Dude, we've got it covered.
Coolio.
Yeah.
You heard it from the man himself.
We've got it covered.
It's sorted.
Now, got your cars here, or shells and car.
Yes.
What are we looking at?
So this one is painted by the man himself, Mr. Vivian Grobler. So that whole thing is all paint.
That's not stickers?
No, not one sticker on the car anywhere at all. Even on the end plates here. It's crazy, dude. Like, the level of detail in it. And it was done a long time ago as well. It was done nearly 3 years ago, something like that. Obviously, when he was over here, he signed it for me.
Nice.
So, Viv, if you're watching, big up yourself. But yeah, obviously, if you know Viv, you know his work is just insane. And he paints like nobody else I know, really, to be fair. And then this little beauty here is obviously the car that I run. That shell was painted by Mark Bennett. He spent God knows how many hours, over 100 hours, I think it was, on 2 shells. So there's an S15 that pairs to it, but everything is opposite way around. It's really cool the way he's done it. And the detail that he puts into stuff, again, Mark Bennett is just... So shout out to Mark, and thank you as well. You know, Mark doesn't have to... No one has to help me. People just decide they're going to help me and choose to, and, you know, I can't really say any fairer than that, but he has won a couple of competitions and stuff like that. So, yeah, and I really like it myself. I love PS13s.
Yeah.
If we just pop the lid off, underneath we have a MST RMX. I don't know if that's high enough. It's actually called a VIP D.
Can I have a look?
Yeah, sure. So it's quite an old chassis. I think they're around about 7 or 8 years old. That chassis is not that old, but originally there would have been a CS chassis. And Gary Evans kindly offered, again, somebody in the community, to build me an absolute weapon. So I had the same chassis before, but it was in red. And then I brought that chassis with quite a few bits on it, and he did a tune on it, and it is awesome. It drives so well. It's so consistent. It's on point all the time. And yeah, Gaz is just, he's a genius, mate. He is a genius. So like the ESC settings, the servo gyro settings, he literally set the whole car up. And like I say, since I've been driving it, I don't think I've ever had a day where I've not enjoyed it. So thanks to Gaz, if you're watching, mate, because I do really appreciate it. But
doing this, obviously full time, this is your life.
yeah.
Do you find it when you go to the track, it's hard to then work on your car?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. You know, it's like if you worked in McDonald's, you wouldn't want to eat burgers on your day off. So it's a similar kind of thing, you know. Obviously, when you're working with something all the time, I just want to go to the track and drive if I can. And I try not to mess with my car too much, if I'm honest. It might not be 100% dialed in for every single track, but it's close enough for me to dial it in with my hands. Just drive it on the throttle sort of thing. But yeah, like I say, you know, I'm super lucky in respect of Gaz has obviously built me an absolute weapon, because it is. You'll have to drive it one day and you'll see. Because obviously with it being an old chassis as well, it's quite heavy, which coming out of the corners is difficult sometimes. So I've had to learn to drive differently with this. But coming into the corners is a different ball game altogether, because you can just chuck whatever you want at it and just throw all the weight behind it. And just loves it. So I do really enjoy it, mate.
I can tell when you're having a good drift and you're in the zone, because he sits there and his headphones going, and that's it. He's in that zone. Then I've seen you a few times, and I'm like, that was having a fucking good time. Yeah, man.
Because that's kind of where it started. You know, like putting my headphones on, because if you suffer with mental health, you'll kind of get it, because whenever you're doing something, it's almost like somebody else is having a conversation with you as well. It's like, people call it brain chatter, so your brain's constantly thinking, basically. So it's a way of sort of blanking that out. It's not necessarily listening to the music, it's blanking everything else out so I can fully focus on the car.
I'm with you.
So, and I find it easier to sort of be more connected with the car, if that makes sense, because I don't need to hear the car to know what it's doing. I can tell by my throttle response and what the car's doing, by what sort. I can almost probably hear the noise in my head from what the car's doing movement-wise. So it gives you a deeper connection.
Is that right? Right, that's
Try
it.
You might like it.
Headphones coming in my pocket to the track.
Some people don't like it because it's too much of a distraction, and they find they can't concentrate, like sitting down. Some people can't do it, but I learned sat down. So for me, I kind of can't drift standing up, because I almost need to be sat down and relaxed as possible, and then I'm just sort of trying to mould into the car, if that makes sense.
I'm with you. Yeah, man.
So there's a little tip for you.
Try it. Thank you all for sending in the questions. I took quite a few of them this time, which was a surprise, because usually 50% of them are unreadable. I can't repeat that.
Mind your language if you want to get on the podcast.
Top left one, don't read it.
Who said that?
Jobbers.
Oh, you might know.
Yeah.
Jobbers.
What do you prefer, TikTok or Instagram?
I don't know, they're both a headache.
Yeah.
I'm not really fussed. You know, I always see it as, if someone gives us a platform that we can use and it's free, then let's try and use it and utilise it to its best ability. So I haven't really got a favourite, really, to be fair.
Fair play.
They're both just as good in their own way, I guess.
Have you got any plans to go abroad and have a go at this? Just maybe on a holiday?
I would love to. I would absolutely love to. And again, it's part of my dream. So for people that don't know, I obviously suffer with like PTSD, and it comes from being trapped. So getting on a plane, getting in a car is quite difficult for me. Hence why this year I've been able to go to the tracks and stuff like that, because I wasn't really able to do it before, because I have to take God knows how much medication and just sit like a zombie for a few hours while I get there. But yeah, if that was gone, I'd go tomorrow.
Man.
I would love to travel the world doing it, mate. There's not really anywhere else I'd like to be. I love drifting, and whether it be in Tamworth or in Tasmania, it would still be fun.
Yeah.
And it'd be great to go out into the world and meet more people.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, hopefully, in the not so distant future, I can get myself around.
Nice.
Maybe Europe first. And I'd like to go and watch Drift Masters as well. I'd love to go to Ferropolis, Germany.
Is that the real cars?
Quarry, yeah.
Right, okay.
It's like a disused quarry. It's awesome, man. It looks insane.
Right.
And there's a drift track not far from there as well. So
Result.
who knows?
Do you think you'll take part in any of the upcoming, next year's championship? Do you think you'll have a go around?
Yeah. I mean, I would always encourage people to do it as well. 1, 2, 1, 2.
And we're back.
Oh, got a shock off that there.
Did you? I'm not liable.
Energy.
It's them new batteries.
Yeah.
Favourite chassis, but I think you've had this one for so long.
Yeah, I'd probably say that. However, I do highly rate the MC1.
Yeah, I've just got mine out of retirement.
I really enjoy driving them because they're so nimble and almost light on the feet, if that makes sense. They're very nimble and very light, and yeah, they're a really nice chassis. I do like the MC1.
I've got an RDX, which I really rate.
Yeah.
And I've recently, in the last 3 weeks, got the MC1 back after I robbed all of the parts off of it. Got it back up and running, and it's such a great car.
Yeah, they are. They're awesome, to be fair. And, people are constantly innovating. Look at the RDX. That has been a game changer this year for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I think it's great because I see so many people come into the hobby, the newbies, and they'll buy a car. And obviously, because it gives them so many options to get it wrong, unfortunately, that's what happens. And a lot of them are perhaps a bit shy to ask for somebody to just check it over. And if you are, don't ever be shy. Just ask somebody. And there's always, handfuls of people that are willing to help you, even if it's just having a check over it or stuff like that. But the RDX kind of eliminates that problem, which is great because then the driver knows that it's on them then.
They can concentrate on their driving and not worrying about what's wrong with my car.
Have I done the right setup? Is there something wrong or whatnot? So, yeah, I think the RDX I think every chassis's got its own market. Obviously, there's a lot of overdose fans out there and they make some seriously cool stuff. But, yeah, I think if I was to have to pick a chassis to drive just non-stop, then it would probably be an MC1 if that wasn't available. But I do like that, because it feels more like a CS, if that makes sense. So
nice. Dal, thank you for doing this with me.
No worries at all, dude. No worries at all. It's been a pleasure, mate. Honestly, It really has. I've enjoyed it. To be fair. It's been nice to tell my story, I guess. And again, just want to say, just quickly, thank you to every single person that shows support, not only to me personally, but to ASBO, to the raffles, to Sam's podcasts, to everything that goes on within the scene. Without all you guys, none of this is possible.
Yeah, man. So, yeah, that's perfect. Thank you, Dale.
No worries at all, mate. Thank you.
See you all trackside soon.
Take care.